This conference will now be recorded.
I'd like to welcome everybody to our January 23rd, 2025 Lander County Board of Commissioners meeting. All items on this agenda are approximate. Considerations of items may require more or less time than is scheduled. Items on the agenda may be taken out of order. The public body may combine two or more agenda items for consideration, and the public body may remove an item from the agenda or delay discussion relating to an item on the agenda at any time. Public comment is designated for discussion only. The public has the opportunity to address the commission on any matter not appearing on the agenda. However, no action may be taken on any matter raised until the matter itself has been specifically included on the agenda as an item upon which action may be taken. Additionally, public comment may be heard on any item listed on the agenda. Persons are invited to submit comments in writing and or attend and make comments on any agenda item at the Lander County Commissioners Board meeting. All public comment may be limited to 3 minutes per person at the discretion of the commission. Please note that the public body may interrupt the open meeting and exclude the public for the purpose of having an attorney-client discussion of potential and existing litigation. And this is pursuant to NRS 241-0153B2. I'll call this meeting to order. Alicia, would you lead some pledge today?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll have a moment of silence. Lander County Commissioners may break for lunch from 12 p.m. to 1:15 p.m. Any agenda item may be taken out of order, may be combined for consideration by the public body, and items may be pulled or removed from the agenda at any time. We'll move into commissioners' reports on meetings, conferences, and seminars attended. So, Lamont, we'll start with you.
Yeah, the first one attended was the Central Nevada Regional Water Authority. Me and Commissioner Price attended. Some of the highlights from that was Mineral County was added to the Water Authority. In the past, the reason why they weren't added was it was strictly monetarily. So their commissioners that all voted in, and now they're part of that Water Authority. The biggest topic that was talked about and voted on was it was the White Mountain Ranch LLC that applied for 3 water permits, and basically what they're doing is they're taking an agricultural water and they want to use it over to like a mine water. So basically there's the permitting is to move the water from the agricultural to basically a mine use. So what the board voted on was to with the White Mountain Ranch in the past is they have not provided their 5-year proof of benefit of use. So that's the biggest biggest hiccup they have. So basically what came out of that is Esmeralda County and also the Regional Water Authority Board are actually protesting until they get more information, because there really wasn't a lot of information on these permits when I read through them, when Commissioner Price read through them. There wasn't a lot of information, what was going on, what was going to impact. So until then, a vote was to protest. Esmeralda County will also be protesting until, they'll have their seat at the table and they'll be able to get more information, get exactly what's going where, what it's going to affect, because when the water gets taken from the agricultural into a mine use, that's going to affect a lot of things. So where we've asked for more information pretty much is what's going to happen until that information is provided, it's going to be in a protest situation. The second one, I attended the LEPC meeting. A couple items from that was we've removed and actually appointed several new members. Several members had to drop off the committees due to work situations, and others came in and kind of jumped on board. So we've got some new members. Also, there was just some updates and closing out some small action items that have been kind of hanging out there throughout the last couple months. Did speak with the safety representative from Ormat, who will be giving tours if anybody's interested. We'll probably be touring the Biawawi plant down there, basically from a security standpoint and also from an emergency standpoint. So if anybody here is interested, I'm going to be organizing kind of a one-day thing, go out there and just take a look around if anybody's interested. Let's see. They're still working on the Tri-County mitigation plan that's due in 2026. As of now, the information I got was it is now Lander County's turn to pretty much pay for that. And so the discussions that I've had is actually the 3 counties may end up splitting those costs. So rather than one county have to pay for every 5 years, all 3 counties might just each take a third, and that would probably be better going forward. So, and then the last meeting went to the FCC meeting as a community member for Alicia's meeting, and I would one of the takeaways is, and I know it's an item below, is about the radon testing. So I think that's something everyone might want to pay attention to. So, and did a volunteer for the mobile food harvest, and that's about it.
Good. Thanks a lot. Okay, we'll move to you, Alicia.
Okay. My first one is the hospital board, and so that was a learning experience because we had Lyle Lemire got elected as the chair, and Sean Merlich is vice chair. So it took a little longer because we were new at it, or Lyle was at least. So, but he did great. They're discontinuing construction, and they hope to be done by May. And then Lyle and I also attended the construction. They do a construction meeting every Thursday. So I went to the first one. I didn't make it to the last one, but everything's still on schedule. So just doing some changes and stuff. So, and I did not make it to the livestock meeting because it was the same night as the hospital board due to the day of mourning. So they had to move their meetings. So yeah, so I didn't make that one. And then of course, as Lamont said, the FCC meeting, which I help with that. So that's, if you guys ever get a chance to come to that, to come, please, you get a lot of information at the Frontier Coalition. So that's basically it.
Okay, thanks, Alicia.
Did you guys do those Zooms?
No, but we could, because we do them in the room in there, so we could do them
I don't wanna
Zoom.
drive down, but if you'd Zoom,
Yeah.
I would do them.
Yeah, we could do them Zoom. We've done them
That'd be
before,
awesome.
so we'll have to
Okay, the
someone
only,
teach me to do that.
the only one I attended, because most of mine were canceled, was Convention and Tourism the other night. We've started working on next year's budget. Really nothing too exciting. It was like a 15-minute meeting.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll move into staff reports on meetings, conferences, and seminars attended.
Good morning, Commission. First is what I'd like to say is we have some recognition plaques here for Don Prince, who retired, Denise Fortune, who also retired, and our past Commissioner, J.R. Thomas. We did reach out to all of them. I'm not sure if we have anybody. It looks like we have a Fortune on the phone here. I'm not sure which one. If it is Denise, that'd be great. Hearing nothing, I'm assuming it's not. But we will
Can you hear me?
Yep, we got you now.
So it's Courtney for the record. And I just wanted to go on there and let you guys know that she's not there because there was a whole bunch of stuff that's happened after she retired. She was told that she wasn't needed anymore inside that building after January 5th. Nobody reached out to her to come and get that plaque or get recognition until there was Facebook posts, commissioners talked to, speeches made. So she just felt like it was kind of like out of guilt that you guys were finally going to recognize her. So she just didn't want to come and deal with all that.
Well, we appreciate that. I can promise you that never from any of my staff or my office was she never not invited back. We love Denise, and she's always been good to us as far as from a family standpoint and professionally. So I apologize.
Yeah, no, totally. And I totally get that. And it's nothing against you or anybody personally in general. She was just told that her duties were done on January 5th, turn her stuff in, she was good to go. And that was all she's received. So
Okay,
she
well,
didn't feel the need to come back. But if Jenny Martin's there, you can give her Denise's plaque and she can get it to her.
you bet. She's here. And just
Okay.
also for the record, we did reach out to Denise's personal cell phone.
Yeah, you did
So
after everything happened. So
Yeah, and just so everybody knows that sometimes when you order these plaques, they don't come in the minute they come in, so you hate to recognize somebody, you don't have something to hand them. So sorry for that and the timing and how that worked out, but certainly nothing from us but love for her and her retirement as well. So thank you guys, and I think the rest of what I have here is NV Energy. We're working with them on their new power plan for the Green Link North and where they're running it through and where they're going to allow solar fields to connect. So they're going to give us that map, and with that map, we'll come back before you guys with a proposed land use plan that then you guys can approve for any of these solar fields that may come in the future, if any, depending on how the new administration handles that. The Austin Youth Center and the Austin Community Center will both be breaking ground in May or June. So them projects are moving forward. The Austin Youth Center is going through our insurance. That takes a little more time, and it's also connecting to an adjoining building that's privately owned. So there's a few more steps that go into that, and could be a few expenses that come out of the county's pocket to make sure that we do it right the first time. We're working with the building owner on that as well. Our public works director, Mr. Don Prince retiring. I'm stepping in there and going to be doing that for the foreseeable future, just so I can get a good feel for what's happening before we advertise that. And then, as you guys know, we advertise the process to that for anybody who's interested. When we do advertise, we interview. Typically, we bring in other county managers or public works directors from counties outside of ours to do the interviews. They make their recommendation to this board that then can approve or deny or move forward with however you see fit. But it's not something that I do. It's something this board appoints once we go through that process. I would encourage you guys to stop and talk to our water and sewer and road and bridges in both north and south, and just kind of get their feeling for things. And with me being over there back in their business, I think it's going to be a good thing for all of us. So don't hesitate to let me know of any concerns so we can get them addressed. And with that, everything else we have is on the agenda.
Okay, thank you, Bert. We'll move into public comment for non-agenda items only. Is there any public comment?
This is Kim Schott down here in Austin. I have a comment.
Hi, Kim.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
So
Or
I'm
you're-
here today on behalf of the pickleball ladies here in Austin. Somebody stopped by the other day and they were surveying or doing something with the tennis courts there, the pickleball courts outdoors. A lot of them were unaware of what was happening with that the community center was going to go in that spot. And so I wanted to get an update. Is it still going to go in that spot? And they wanted me to relay to you that the reason they didn't use the pickleball court wasn't because they didn't want to. It's because it was basically unusable. It kind of slept apart and it was unsafe for a lot of them, their footing and whatnot, to use that. They currently use the school, and that is all fine, especially in the wintertime. But as we all know, in the summertime, it is extremely hot in that gym. So it's basically, there's a high risk of them with a threat of heat exhaustion for them in that gym. And it's basically unusable during the summer. So they have no place to play pickleball. And it's super important for them because this is what they do for physical fitness. And I was unaware how many people actually played pickleball, and those ladies get after it. And there are quite a few of them. Super important for their physical health, for their mental health. And we just kind of wanted to get that out there, and they wanted to know if they could be put on the agenda to show up and enforce and let you guys know how they feel about it.
Okay, well, thank you, Kim. I'll make, Bert has a note of that there, and we can get it addressed.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Have a good day.
Thank you.
We do have plans for the court there.
Okay. Is there any other public comment for non-agenda items?
I didn't hear what he said. Can you repeat that?
Oh, sorry, I didn't have my microphone on. Yeah, we do have plans for the pickleball court. We didn't put that there without other plans. We'll bring that back before this commission for approval when we move forward with this. So we haven't forgot about them.
Copy. Thank you so much.
Okay, moving on. We'll move into our consent agenda. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered routine and may be acted upon by the Board of County Commissioners with one action, without extensive discussion. Any member of the board or any citizen may request that an item be taken from the consent agenda, discussed and acted upon separately during this meeting. Consent agenda materials are available at the Lander County's clerk's office for viewing, and copies are available for a nominal charge. 1, approval of January 23rd, 2025 agenda notice. 2, approval of December 12th, 2024 meeting minutes. 3, approval of January 6th, 2025 meeting minutes. 4, approval of payroll change request. And I'm not sure, but I think the only thing we need a motion on would be the agenda notice, which is number 1, and payroll change request are 4. I didn't receive any minutes.
No, we have, the
Okay,
12
what
right here.
date, what's the date on that?
December 12th.
Okay, so we're looking for a motion to approve 1, 2, and 4.
I'll make a motion that we approve 1, 2, and 4,
Okay,
agenda and meeting minutes.
okay. We have a second?
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we'll move into 1.1 for discussion and possible action to approve, disapprove payment of bills. We need to pull check number 226715 and 226564. And if there's a motion to approve the remainder, I'll hear it.
I'm going to abstain from voting or discussion on this due to Michael Harris needing a reimbursement for one of the credit cards.
On this, one of the credit cards,
Yep.
okay. So, Bill, what's the
I
best?
motion that,
He doesn't have, I mean, anytime he wants, any of you feel uncomfortable.
Okay,
Yep.
all right,
I'm not sure he needs to, but
okay,
whatever makes him feel comfortable.
okay. So I'll hear a motion.
I motion that we approve pay all the bills without whatever check numbers it
Okay,
was
all right.
now.
226-715, 226. You want that one?
There you go. Okay, so is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, and you abstain?
Yes, I abstain.
And then, we need to address the 2 checks.
Okay, I motion that we approve check numbers 226715 and 226664 to be paid.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I'll abstain.
Well, those ones.
Oh, you don't have to.
These are
Oh, on the
specifically
payment of
2
bills
checks.
14 and 15.
Yeah, you have to vote.
I vote aye.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yep,
aye. Okay, and I will abstain because those are made to my client.
Right.
Okay, great. We'll move into 1.2 for information only. Creed presentation by FFA student Finn Bundrock. Good morning, gentlemen.
I'd like to introduce Tim Rock, who is presenting the creed, and I'd like to thank the council commissioners for the support of the youth of our community.
The FFA Creed by E.M. Tiffany. I believe in the future of agriculture. Faith, or not of words, but of deeds. Achievements won by culturalists, and in the promise of better days, through better ways, even as the better things we now enjoy have come to us from the struggles of former years. I believe that to live and work on a good farm, or to be engaged in other agricultural pursuits, is pleasant as well as challenging. For I know the joys and discomforts of agricultural life and hold an inborn fondness for those associations which even in hours of discouragement I cannot deny. I believe in leadership from ourselves and respect from others. I believe in my own ability to work efficiently and think clearly with such knowledge and skill as I can secure, and in the ability of progressive agriculturalists to serve our own and the public interest in producing and marketing the product of our toil. I believe in less dependence on begging and more power in bargaining, in the life abundant and enough honest wealth to make it so for others as well as myself, in less need of charity and more of it when needed, being happy myself and playing square with those whose happiness depends upon me. I believe that American agriculture can and will hold true to the best traditions of our national life, and that I can exert an influence which will stand solid for my part in that inspiring task. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bundrock.
Do we have any questions about the creed?
Nope.
Okay,
Okay.
okay. Well, thank you
Good
again.
job.
Good job.
Okay, we'll move into 1.3. For discussion and possible action to approve, disapprove the appointment of one individual to serve as the alternate on the Austin Airport Advisory Board. This term is from July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2027, and our applicant is Kim Schott. Anybody have any questions?
We really need this person on there because sometimes we don't have quorum. So we need this to be able to finish quorum.
I will make a motion that we approve Kim Schott for the Austin Airport Advisory Board.
I second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we'll move into 1.4 for discussion and possible action to approve, disapprove the reappointment of one individual to serve on the Lander County Debt Management Commission. New terms are from January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2026, and our applicant is Bart Negro. So Bart currently serves on that board, so he would just be resuming his role if we approve that. So if there's a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve Bart Negro for the reappointment to serve on the Lander County Debt Management Commission for the terms of January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2026.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
A motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. We will move into 1.5 for discussion and possible action to approve, disapprove proclamation 2025-01 declaring February 2025 as National Radon Action Month in Nevada. Okay. Good morning.
Heather Neild for the record.
Yeah.
I am UNR's, I work with UNR Extension. I'm the Lander County Extension Coordinator. And one of the programs that UNR supports is the radon education. And as you can see in the proclamation, February is National Radon Month. Radon is an invisible, odorless gas and a byproduct of the natural breakdown of uranium. Nevada has the highest surface uranium levels of any state, making radon a significant local concern. Why is this important? Exposure to radon levels significantly increases lung cancer risk, making testing and mitigation essential for public health. And recent studies have also shown a direct link between radon exposure and childhood leukemia and strokes in postmenopausal women. Currently, the data shows that Lander County's average radon level is 2.9, which is just below the EPA action level of 4.0, but it is also double the World Health Organization's, or close to the World Health Organization action number of 2.7. The importance of the proclamation, a radon proclamation, it raises awareness, encourages testing, and promotes action to protect our community, aligning with the EPA's National Radon Action Month in February. By adopting this proclamation, the Council demonstrates leadership in public health and supports initiatives like free or low-cost radon test kits and mitigation efforts. Currently, we have radon tests available at the Extension Office at 815 North 2nd Street. Locally, we also have it here at the County Admin Office, and I'm working on a couple other location spots that people can pick them up. In Austin, we have test kits available at the County Library, and Kingston, there are some down there. So we have some radon tests available. This is what the radon test kit looks like. It's literally free. These kits, if they were to purchase them, they would be $15, and then the cost at the testing center. You can see that there is a packet here. It's just charcoal that will absorb. You set it out in an area in your home. There are specific directions. The best place is really on your bedroom dresser. You leave it for 48 to 96 hours. We have an envelope in here. You stick it in there, and then the prepaid, pre-addressed postage and then it sends it off. And then within a week, you get the results. So it's a very simple thing to do that can prevent a lot of future health issues. So I appreciate the support in passing the proclamation. Are there any questions?
So we approved this proclamation and supported every year, and we have for as long as I can remember. What kind of participation do we get? I mean, we're spreading the awareness. How many people actually participate and come and pick up these kits? And then of those that do, what is like the actual, I mean, I see the chart that shows like especially out in the Austin area that it's very high.
Yeah.
When they pick up those test kits, do they, show that? And I mean, yeah, I'm just kind of curious in the participation.
So this is the first time I've been a part of the Radon program, Action Month. But I was told last year there were 2 tests submitted from Lander County. So there hasn't been a whole lot of participation. However, when you look at the data that's on the county map with Lander, it does show that there were 158 tests done. I'm not sure over the time span, but it does show that Battle Mountain has like a 9% probability for radon in the homes. Austin is definitely a lot higher at 38%. So the name slipped my mind, but there's someone in Kingston that's been very proactive, reached out and asked for those tests. She's handing them out there. I'm working on getting contacts in Austin to help promote that. And then we're just working on it here. So to tell you, I really don't know the answer to that, but I can find out.
Fair enough. Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
You need to get them out of the library and move them to the courthouse because the library is temporarily closed.
Oh.
So it doesn't do any good to have them there.
Okay.
So
I can make arrangements. Do you know of a point of contact at the courthouse that I could reach?
you can give them to my secretary, Mitt.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
So, and then what we'll do is we'll just put them on the table out there and then people can take them.
Okay.
That's what we've always done in the past. They always just sit there.
Perfect.
So.
Okay.
And then, of course, we have the Apex mine out there, which is a uranium mine, which is what makes our count higher.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? Does the public have any questions for Heather? Okay, we'll hear a motion.
I move that we declare February 2025 as National Radon Action Month in Lander County.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you, Heather.
Thanks.
Moving to 1.6 for discussion and possible action to approve, disapprove allowing Carson City Ham Radio to place a repeater at the Verizon microwave site on the Austin Ridge.
I know that there's nobody here for this, huh? Okay, so they came and talked to us at the airport board. We didn't actually have quorum, so we couldn't vote on this. But the idea is, hold on. I had it ready on my phone, I apologize. Anyway, the Carson Ham Radio is the strongest group around, and they've actually worked with our LEPSI group here, and they've talked with Robert, and they want to put one up there on the tower up on the ridge, and they also want to put the one in the Austin airport. I sent an email to Bert and Sean about that, but it didn't make it onto the agenda because I probably didn't do it right. Anyway, okay, there's a project underway to bring the VHF radio coverage to rural areas along Highway 50 and others that will replace a repeater at the Verizon microwave site at the Austin Ridge. This repeater will be linked to repeaters in Carson City area, Fairview Peak near Middlegate, Austin, Eureka, and Ely. Mr. Robert Plant of the Nevada Department of Wildlife and Energy Management is spearheading the project. The radio equipment on the mountain is computer controlled. In the winter, access is nearly impossible, so a remote location for the computer, a laptop, or a small desktop radio link and a small antenna is needed. The Austin airport would be an ideal location as it is line of sight with the Verizon tower and has all-weather access. So what it would do is, like, if everything digital goes down, we still will have communication across through rural Nevada with the ham radios. Good old days type stuff.
Exactly.
And I think that it's really an important issue to deal with. And the airport board, like I said, even though we didn't have a quorum, the members that were there were supportive of it.
Dee, was there anybody that was kind of negatively, talking? Was there any, negative repercussions of putting this in?
No.
Is there anybody kind of?
No, and the other thing is, the Pony Express goes through Highway 50 every year, and they would also be using it, and that would be their way of testing it every year to make sure that it's up and working.
Okay.
So, but there was no negativity. It's a very positive thing. And the gal that was in charge of LEPC was very supportive of it. And I understand that Robert Plant has talked to the Sheriff's Department about it also.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea as well. I just think it's smart. Like you say, if we lose our ability to communicate, it's definitely a alternate way to be able to do that. So
when all radios are down, we would be able to communicate still.
Mm-hmm. So are there any other questions on the item from the public or the commission? Okay, I'll hear a motion.
Make a motion that we approve allowing Carson City Ham Radio to place a repeater at the Verizon microwave site on Austin Ridge.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
And we can't approve the airport because it wasn't on the agenda, right?
Yeah, and I apologize. I misunderstood that as being an agenda item for this. I was confusing that with an airport board meeting, so
Okay.
we'll make that correction.
Okay. All right. So I approve.
Okay, so all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. We'll move to 1.7 for discussion, possible action to disapprove issuing a Lander County credit card to Spencer Roberts, Argenta Justice Court, Justice of the Peace. Okay, any questions on this item?
No, that's like the one replacing the one Denise had.
Yes.
Okay.
No questions? Okay, I'll hear a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve issuing a Lander County credit card to Spencer Roberts, Sergeant at Justice Court, Justice of the Peace.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
I second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, moving on. We'll move to 1.8, recess the Board of Lander County Commissioners and convene the meeting of the Lander County Liquor Board composed of the Lander County Board of Commissioners, Sheriff Ron Unger. 1, for discussion and possible action to disapprove the off-sale liquor license for Gillian Rush with Dollar General number 25846 located at 958 Broyles Ranch Road in Battle Mountain, Nevada, 89820.
You can come up.
Morning, Robert. And this must be Miss Rush.
Good morning, Commissioners. Robert Quick for the Sheriff's Office. This is an application for a liquor license for the Dollar General Corporation store that's located here in Battle Mountain. We've done our due diligence and see no reason to recommend disqualification or non-issue, and we do recommend issue.
Okay. So does the Commission Board have any questions?
No.
Does the public have any questions? Okay, I will hear a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve liquor license for the Dollar General.
Okay, and is there a second?
I'll second.
So I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, there you are. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, Lakin, you said Alan would be here? Okay, so we'll jump into 2.1 for discussion. What's that? Oh, sorry.
Adjourn the liquor board.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you, Liz. We need to adjourn the meeting of the Lander County Liquor Board and reconvene the Lander County Board of Commissioners. Okay, 1.9, we're waiting for Mr. Colt to show up. Yes?
Do you want to skip to the next item? Or?
Yeah, we're just going to skip to 2.1. So for discussion, possible action to disapprove the modification of the Lander County grant packet and guidelines. Okay.
So this is what you guys requested to be on.
Did we modify it or we can modify it now?
That's what we're.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is for you guys to review. So the guidelines is page 3 of the packet, and then the questionnaire is after that.
And so I'll be attending the Kingston Town Board meeting tomorrow. They had recommended previously a 2% addition to their grant funding for community improvement projects. But once again, that's up to this board on what you guys want to put forward.
No less than 2.
Yeah, no less than 2.
So I did include that in the guidelines on number 5. So that is a new added one if you guys approve it. And then anything else you want to add or change.
Do we want to do that for everybody, or do we want to just do that for like Kingston or Gilman Springs or?
Well, I don't know that everybody else is actually doing community improvement projects community-based projects. I think a lot of the grant funding is like for,
Yeah, because it states any grants for a project, the grantee shall include the 2%. It isn't specific to.
That's why I put for project. Because the other grant requests we get are for like operational.
Right.
So if they're asking for like a specific project to be done, then you would want the 2%.
Just like the Historical Society puts in for projects sometimes,
So what I'd like to do, since, this is why, I think it was by the request of a commissioner or two that we basically look at this and revamp it if we need to, but I'd just like to go by line, because this is the policies that this is our policy, our guidelines that we're setting for this, and I just think we're in agreement that if we're going to have something on here, that we execute it and we make it so. So what I'd like to do is take it one item at a time. So number one, total of all grant applications shall not exceed 100,000. That's been what this board agreed on, but every year it exceeds $100,000. So we need to have some agreement from this board. What would you like that amount to be?
Now, I'm thinking that most people think that means per their grants. They don't understand that it actually means total grants throughout the entire county period. It's just.
It says total of all grant applications. It says it right
I know,
there.
but when people look at that, they're not seeing that. They're just.
we might want to consider excluding Kingston in that, just because their operations, they can't sustain a lot of what they're trying to do.
Right.
And if they do fail, it falls back on us. So it's wise of us to do good projects down there. So
maybe
does really blow that budget out of proportion.
Yeah, it
We
does.
did exclude them this last year because their request was so large. We just did it as a project.
So maybe we could put just like a sub line in there, basically stating excluding Kingston for the reason that exactly like Bert
By
stated.
conservation district with the sage grouse, it's 100,000 alone. So.
Yes, exactly.
We'd have to exclude some other ones as well.
Yeah, so that's probably some of the things that we need to look at.
What if we turn like nonprofit groups instead? Because Kingston and Conservation Board and stuff aren't nonprofit, and most of them that put in are like the museum, the Historical Society and the chambers and all of those that are nonprofit.
So all nonprofit, not to exceed 100,000.
Yeah. What do you think of that?
Yeah, does that more?
Yeah, that's.
Lakin, do you know what we give the nonprofits last year?
I don't know off the top of my head, but it was definitely over the 100,000.
Definitely over 100,000. Okay. So.
Like a lot more?
Yes. Yeah, so if we make it all the nonprofit, and then we need to have an agreement on that amount.
But then I have to argue with that too, because these nonprofits, the money that we give them, that's what brings heads and beds. The Chamber of Commerce and the museums and all this stuff that are bringing in, their stuff is for events. And they're bringing in people that are spending money in our communities, and they're putting heads in beds. If we don't have these nonprofits, we don't have anybody doing events. So I feel like as a nonprofit person through history until I became a commissioner, I feel like if it wasn't for the nonprofits, we'd be in big trouble. And I feel sometimes we're like, there are things that they try to get away with that they shouldn't, but sometimes we're really too hard on them.
Okay, so that's why we're discussing exactly what we're discussing today. So we have some agreement, and basically can adhere to our own policy that we're setting for these. So that's what we're doing. We're debating it, we're looking at it.
Can I ask her a question?
Yes.
So you're on Convention and Tourism. What can't they help them with?
Well, it used to be Convention and Tourism back when I was with the chamber could do pretty much
Me too.
anything. Yeah. But when Kim left and we got a new director, this latest director is strictly advertising.
So is there any NRSs that say they can't give these people money? Because I personally feel, and I have for many years, because I was back there when at the same time you were, that they should be pumping some money into these things. But I know that every time when I personally was on the chamber board, they said, oh, we can only do it for advertising, we can only do this, but then I
think they're following the guidelines of Travel Nevada, because with Travel Nevada, it's all about heads and beds. And so it's advertising and it's promotion to bring people in. If you think outside the box and you write your grants, like with Travel Nevada, you can make it work. We've done geo-tracking, we've done all kinds of stuff
Is
that
there-
really, but I don't want to be negative here, so.
No, but is there any law that says they can't give that money? Or
Not
is that,
that I
is that
know
just
of.
their policies and procedures?
It's just their policies and procedures.
I think we need to ask about it again because I know that they've paid for things this fiscal year that was not for advertising and they've given money. to
Right.
organizations.
So I just want to make sure they're
Again,
not
it's
picking and
like-
choosing.
So
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be honest. and-
Yeah,
and-
I'm
and
gonna be
transparent.
polite,
I mean,
not
that's-
say anything,
That's kind of
but-
how so if you're on that board, could you get that information for us? I mean,
I'll give it a shot. I've been trying to get a lot of information that I haven't been able to get.
So in past history, I think the purpose of these grants were to get some of these nonprofits to where they were, kind of get the wind under their wings. And they were supposed to progressively come to us year after year, lowering their requests. And some of these have been ongoing with no justification of how they're starting to prop themselves up, so to speak. And I think that should probably be something in consideration, maybe added to this is at the end of 5 years, they have to do some sort of justification why they would want to continue on. I get the heads in beds, but I guess from especially Lakin's standpoint, when she's getting and the staff is going through all of these and trying to get justification on them, it becomes a lot of hours and just a lot of work because everybody's always trying to kind of skirt the fringes of this. And as a county, I'm not sure that it's really our responsibility to be making sure that we get the heads in beds as much as we're doing for the beautification of our community and making it where it's more welcoming and inviting for them. We're trying to improve our racetracks, our golf course, our shooting range, you name it, to bring these things in. And I think that that's a huge contribution that a lot of people, our rodeo grounds, you name it, on both ends, that people don't consider when we talk about heads in beds and then these grants. I just have seen in the 17 years, these guys show up all 17 years. They've been here asking for money and never propped themselves up. And when they first showed up, a lot of them were, hey, we'll be good to go by the end of next year. And 17 years later, here we are still asking for oftentimes more money.
And that's one thing I can say too, and being that I've now been in the seat for 10 years, not consecutive, but I've seen this continually grow. And that's why I'd really like to pay attention and get some common ground and agreement on these grants to where we build a better system, not just a free handout system.
Right.
And what happens is the money is it's like automatically given to the same groups every year. So what happens is when new groups come in, new nonprofits, if we have certain groups that are taking up all that funding, it's kind of hard for these new nonprofits to get their start. So, that does something need to be looked at is after 17 years, I would expect someone to be.
And that's exactly what we're
flying.
Right, exactly. It's like, I think, and we'll get to it. It's one of our things that we agreed on, that they try to prop themselves up, right? So it's not a 17 years down the road thing, still coming in asking for the money. So basically, what do you guys think is a fair amount? If it's not an amount, is there some verbiage we can put in there that basically would paint the picture that we want?
Is there any way we can get like a quick spreadsheet?
Yep. Okay.
It's for what we paid each entity and what we paid fully? Yeah, I'd like to see that.
Yeah, see, in the past, it was like you were supposed to ask for less money every time.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, so.
And I think that's in the packet.
Yeah.
It is, that's one
It
of our-
is.
And at some point, again, it's supposed to stop.
Yeah, I'm not macking on the Austin Chamber here, but when I was there, I asked for $10,000 to $12,000. Now she's asking for 40 to 50 every year.
So, and I'm just curious because I'm not in Austin, but it's like when we give the livestock board, do we give them money to do rodeos or no? Do they do their own thing?
Well, a nonprofit comes in and asks for money that
Okay.
then does.
A separate nonprofit,
rodeo,
okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And if you go to other counties, you will see they are not near as
Generous as we are, yeah.
And their criteria, I mean, I think that in some of these other counties, they have like a $10,000 limit, that's what they give, and that's the cutoff, like for everybody, and they can fight over it how they see fit. So it's pretty generous here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so line 6 of our own policy here says if an agency applies for grants continuously year after year, each request needs to be substantially lower from the previous year until no longer needed, so.
Yeah. But that's kind of hard to do for the chambers.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So if we see, that's what we're doing. We're building our guidelines. So it's,
Yeah.
because we have these things and it's like we're not adhering to them. So it's like, why have them?
Yeah. But I've got to be honest with you, I'm gonna stick up for the nonprofits all the way.
Yeah.
But I mean, I do too, but you do agree that some of them could ask for less.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. You know, like with the Historical Society, every year they ask for just about the same amount. And basically what that does is it runs the building for the year, period. That's it. It pays the power bill, the water, the utilities,
And we are responsible for an employee, am I correct, Bert?
No, not with the Austin one.
Oh, not with Austin. Oh,
No.
so we're just with Lander County.
Right.
I mean, Battle Mountain.
We have to find volunteers.
Okay.
So.
You didn't get in on that good deal.
No, we didn't. And I'd like to see our museum moved into that, to be honest with you. I'd love to see that happen so that it didn't have to come before every year and ask for this. And that's something that we could talk about later. But the Chamber of Commerce's and stuff, you know, they just, and I don't remember that many nonprofits asking last year. So it'll be interesting to see. Well, I like the livestock board, you know, they put on the kids' rodeos and they do all these things. And it's pretty hard to come, you know, when all your money's going out in prizes and stuff, it's hard to come up with that money.
Well,
you guys at least have a mine you can hit up. In Austin, we don't have that.
Well, while we're waiting for her to get this, let's maybe knock out some of these other ones. So number 2, the grantees will submit invoices with backup explanation for each bill to the finance department and administration. They will then be processed for payment and approved by the Board of County Commissioners. A check will then be mailed out to the recipient. How do you guys feel about that?
That works very well.
Yeah.
Any tweaks or changes?
No. There's a spot on here for when they're doing the application. I want to add some stuff that they should put on the application.
Yeah. But it works very well doing that. I think it does for us submitting the bills, but.
Okay. So we're in agreement. We'll just keep 2 how it is then.
Yeah.
3, grants shall not be used for personal, i.e. wages, benefits, etc. For personnel, wages,
Right.
benefits, etc.
Stays that way.
Right.
Is there anything else that you guys, is it just those items or is there anything else that you shouldn't be able to use the grants for?
Well, they covered that in the next one with 4 can't be used.
Okay,
to
yeah,
pay.
so 3 and 4. 4 says grants must not be used to pay for prizes, which include cash, awards, raffle items, etc. And I know, wasn't there some debate on this item last year about, I don't know all the particulars.
That's why I changed the wording. It was the wording.
So this wording has been
Understand.
changed.
Yeah, I
Okay.
changed the wording.
So it makes it more clear.
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys, how do you guys feel about 3 and 4?
I think they're fine.
I think they're fine too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we go to 5, any grants for a project, the guarantee shall include 2% of the request for town beautification. Now, I think that's kind of general because not all grants. So how can we
I think it should-
streamline that?
I think it should say no less than 2%, because what if they come up with a project that's 10%? You know, like the playground out in Kingston, it's going to be more than 2%. So it should say no less than 2%.
Any grant for projects that grantee shall include no less than 2% of that request. Okay, so but then 2, again, we're basically saying this to any grant.
So do you guys want?
So maybe we need to
for
put
a
beautification,
project to be worded differently?
Yeah, so
Wow.
basically that it would fit the grants that would basically, it would be appropriate for, you know what I'm saying? Because it's not going to be like when you give a grant to the rodeo club, something, I mean, it's not a beautification type thing, right? So I don't know how.
Project-based. So project-based grants would then have to do community improvement projects because it's going to go along with their project. You're just improving the community in the process.
Yeah, there you go.
Right, yeah,
How do you guys feel about that?
yeah.
It was just changing the wording to project-based.
Yeah.
It makes more sense.
Okay. So we'll make that change in 5. 6, if an agency applies for grants continuously year after year, each request needs to be substantially lower from the previous year until no longer needed. So this is one that we need to, we haven't been paying attention to it,
Well,
or
when you
haven't
say
been following it.
You say substantially, we probably need to give them a guideline on a percentage, because if you say substantially, $1,000 might be substantial to one and 5 might be substantial to another. So I think we should tell them they got to go down 10 or 15 or 20% or something.
I think a percentage would be,
Yeah.
yes, I think that, and then it's clear cut. They know when they come that the grant is just based on our own policies. It's going to be 20% less this year, because that's the whole point, is to assist and help, right? You guys prop yourself up, so you need to be looking at other ways to raise the funds or whatever. But yeah, so what percentage do you guys feel would you like to see on that?
That's kind of difficult because, you know, if a nonprofit's just starting up, their startup sunk costs are going to be very high. Now, they might not have those costs next year, but now their operating costs, since they're up and running, are going to be different. So I say, unless they have substantially higher, you know, overhead, what do you guys think? 15%, 20%?
I was thinking 10.
So that's, and
Because it's
so
gonna have
that's
to go down every
basically
year,
10%.
so.
We give them $1,000 this year, they could come back and ask for $900 next year. It's, so,
We don't have to approve that though.
no, we don't have to.
Yeah.
Unless there's a significant variance in something with the operating costs, you know, something goes catastrophically wrong, or, I mean, how do we handle that?
You could put that line, say that.
Unless there's a-
it has to be increased by 10%
There-
unless they can prove a reason why they need that specific fund.
So the point here, guys, is that it's not necessarily the taxpayers' responsibilities to help all these nonprofits. It's like, okay, yes, we'd like to assist and we'd like to help get them off the ground, but it's not taxpayers' jobs to make sure that they stay viable. That's so I just, and again, this is how I feel about it. It's just, I feel that we have been very, very, very generous, and it's just, I've said this for the last several years, that we need to cut this back, because I just feel that we spend way too much money.
Do you think 10% is fair?
Yeah.
Well, and here's another thing. You got different types of nonprofits, because I mean, your chambers do a lot of events, right? But then you have other nonprofits that don't do that. I mean, I've been involved in lots of them where, like, Sober Seniors is very self-sustaining. I mean, 'cause they earn their money.
That's right.
They are very self-sustaining, but they have no overhead. So there's a little bit of difference there. But so I don't know. I mean, I think that, I think we need to make them lower, even the chambers every year. But I think that sometimes they do a lot within the community, right? They do that business trick or treat. Do they do that in Austin? No. And so there are some things that they do but I'd really like to see some verbiage on convention and tourism, see how they could get some of those monies, because they've always just said, you know, no, you can't, and there's no proof or whatever to tell us how, because Dee apparently is asked, so.
Well,
The other issue on that, Alicia, is they're doing events for the community, but they're also making money off of those events.
Right.
Let me just put it like this. So you're a business owner. I was a business owner.
Yeah.
And you have nonprofits coming to you all the time,
Yes, they do.
right?
Okay.
But we make those decisions based on what we're doing, what the business could be doing, right?
And the budget.
Like, and the budget, it's like, so if the county, if the taxpayers' dollars weren't there to fund those the people asking for the grants, what would they be doing? They might be out fundraising earlier in the year, running bake sales, car washes, selling treasels like Sober Seniors, raising that money if they knew that the commission wasn't a guaranteed source of revenue for the grant for the year. So it's just, again, I just think by having that handout every single year, we're just feeding, basically, we're giving them a reason not to be very creative and really have that hustle to keep their nonprofit functioning and going. Those are my thoughts.
Would you guys like to hitch the percentage to the years? You know, if you guys want a nonprofit to stand, it can come to you for 5 years and maybe every year it reduces by 20%. Or if you wanted 4 years and it reduced by 25%. That way that they're kind of paralleling each other to be.
Yeah, if they have a long-term plan for, say, hey, here's our 10-year plan, then, you know, we can, you know, then you could do 10%
Should
per
make them have
year.
a plan.
You know, they should, when they do these applications, they should say, hey, this is the plan for we're going to be expecting, you know, to be on our own in 5 years, then we can maybe adjust. But I don't know whether the substantially lowered every year, that's maybe on a case by case and what their plan is.
I like that idea. I like the plan. It's like, hey, we're coming, we know you're helping us, but this is our plan.
It has,
if you can.
we need more solid verbiage, a solid plan for everybody that's applying, not just a blanket every year.
Okay, can I ask something else? General fund grants are separate than our other grants, right? Right. Okay, so that 100,000 would be our Austin Town grants and our Battle Mountain Town grants, correct?
No, it would include all three funds.
Well, the Conservation District got $126,000 all by themselves.
I know, that's why we need to decide if we're excluding them from the set amount that you guys.
Well, but general grant funds, I mean, because you got Town of Kingston Water, so why would that be included in your?
Hey, guys, before we it's all important, but I'd like to address this
Okay.
with this one. Let's just get this thing out of the way. So how do we want 6 to read so that we can have agreement on that, and we'll move back to this one.
Agency applies for grants for the year. Each request needs to be substantially lowered from the previous year until no longer needed.
Do we just make them
Needs to be at a minimum lowered 10%.
Yeah, minimum of 10%.
What about that we make the person that's applying for the grants show us a plan that basically, you know what I'm saying? Because I think that, because then they're putting thought into the future. It's like, okay, we know that it's going to be becoming less every year, so we're going to have to think outside of the box to make sure that we're able to raise those funds. I just like it because they have a plan and they know and it's agreed on, and it gives us something to follow. Say, this was your plan, and it basically so I don't know.
In the actual application, one of the questions, number 5, it does say to provide an explanation on how the entity is working to be self-sustaining. So they're supposed to give like some kind of breakdown on how they're gonna work towards that. Sometimes they do.
But the problem with that is I don't think we necessarily see that during budget.
Yeah. So we can make it more clear in here and even more clear in the questionnaire if you want.
Yeah. So it's like,
You need a lot more information when they're doing this too, like their bank statements. I mean, at least know what they have in the bank. Some give you a profit and loss, some don't. Am I correct? So they all need to have that. And then maybe the breakdown of like when they do an event, Ryan, like who contributed to that? Did they get sponsors? Did they get money from Lander County? How many did they get and who paid for what?
well, again, right?
Okay.
Yeah, they do list, a lot of them list where they've gotten grant funding from in the past. Most of the time it's just the county, but some it lists the mines or other entities.
Again, I think we need to follow some very basic ideas on giving taxpayers dollars to nonprofits, because we can get real complex and serious about it, but all it's going to do is create a lot of back work on the back lines, which I don't think is fair either. We shouldn't be doing the work, right?
So do you want maybe it to say, when you apply for a grant, you need to contain a plan, provide a plan?
Of yes,
like a 5-year, you want to start at least 5
I say
years?
5, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll go 10.
At least a 5-year plan of,
but the 5-year plan is no guarantee that they're going to receive a grant every single year
right.
in the 5 years time.
And then
But it's
put
like,
a percentage on what they need to lower it. So you guys want 10? Did you want higher than 10?
well, 20%, $1,000. Next year it'd be $800. So I don't know. You think 10%? I'm pretty tight, so I say 20% is a good number, but that's me. Dee said 10%, so.
I said 10.
So what would you like to see?
It'd be in the middle.
15%?
Yeah.
15% with a 5-year plan?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what we'll do. Okay, so let's go back up to the total goal grant application, so not exceed 100,000. So Alicia, sorry to cut you
you're
off there,
okay,
but
you're okay.
let's go ahead and address that. Let's go ahead and address that item.
So that was my question. So if like the first two, the Battle Mountain Town grants and the Austin Town grants, what we gave last year was $137,046. So that's, my question is a general fund grant request. I mean, that's like, the conservation district. So why are they, I mean, they're, like I said, and then Kingston Town gets like $1 million something, which for water and stuff. So I'm wondering why that's not included in that $100,000.
Yeah, so I would say the general fund requests are more, most of these actually provide things that are, me see here, I gotta think.
The only two things I see in there, Brian, is Agape and Nevada Outdoor Schools that would fall into the other category.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly. It's those two. Yep. Because Lander County Conservation, that money is used to handle the sage-grouse issues, which is very large, very important to Lander County, right?
We budget it based on where they provide the service or the event. So the Austin ones come out of Austin Town because they're just for Austin community, and the Battle Mountain ones are only things that are done here in Battle Mountain. Lander County is for the whole countywide that it contributes to.
And we'll have to get with the conservation district on that, because if I'm not mistaken, they renamed that budget.
Yes, they did for what?
So I'm not so certain that it's specific to sage grouse anymore. And
wildlife conservation.
I don't know.
They said it was going to be native wildlife projects.
Yeah, so and then that comes back to how far the county really wants to get into other operations. It makes no difference to us other than the staff's time that, goes and verifies all this stuff, but it is taxpayer funds that are being spent again.
Yep. So what direction do you guys want to go?
Okay, I'm doing some math here, sorry.
Well, like the Austin Medical Clinic, they doubled what they asked for in the past.
Who did?
The Austin Medical Clinic. And again, my complaint was the fact that they're never there. Rural Nevada Health, they are actually sometimes sending out a motorhome now that they, and we do our services through this van, which is very nice. I mean, it has x-ray machines and all kinds of stuff in it. But we're paying a lot of money for a building for them to go in and make coffee.
And who do they rent that building from?
Convention and Tourism.
And how much for?
$6,000 a month, or $6,000 a year.
Yeah.
We reimburse them.
Yeah. But then they doubled it. They went from the 6,000 to 12,000. And I didn't understand why we asked that, and they.
Well, let me remind you, you say they doubled it. No, we doubled it. We approved the
Well,
amount.
their requests, they doubled, from
Yeah, no, exactly. But
because historically, for the past 15, 17 years, they have asked for $6,000.
For the rent.
For the rent. That was it. It just covered the rent every year. And that was because Jana Lee decided that they couldn't just give it to them for $1 a year. It had to have actual rent. Back when Jana Lee was our assistant DA. Before that, it was $1 a year.
And did Convention and Tourism own it then too?
Yeah, see, Convention and Tourism bought it from John Shanks, and with the understanding that the county would always have the parking lot for the county vehicles and buildings and stuff. And then somehow or another, the chamber got involved in it, and so we were subleasing it from Convention and Tourism and then renting it to Rural Nevada Health for $1 a year. Well, then Jana Lee got in the middle of all of it, and the chamber got out of it, thank goodness. And it became directly between them, and she decided that it had to have that amount of rent to be fair.
so maybe we don't want to put a total, because when we put a total on there, it just puts a target there. People are like, hey, look, they're agreeing to hand out $300,000. Maybe we don't want that amount. Maybe we just need some verbiage.
At the discretion of the commissioners. But
Yeah,
then that leaves it open for more too.
But that's the point. It's like that's the whole point. Is that
I do want to correct Ms. Murray. She was a close friend, but nevertheless, she did make mistakes. We have several things where we have leased them for $1. That's traditional when you're dealing with other governments or nonprofits. So I don't know where she was coming from on that.
Well, that was so many years ago. Jana Lee's
Yeah,
gone now.
but just so you know, I want to correct that.
so? Just maybe we have the total to the discretion of the commission, but if we put in there that it's reduced every single year and we hold to that, and then we can get our heads wrapped around the idea that we're not responsible, right? It's like we want to assist and we do want to help. I mean, we do a lot of things on a lot of different lines to try and improve our county.
we can take number 1 out altogether if you
Yeah.
want, and then just have all the stricter guidelines.
Yes, exactly. What do you guys think about that?
that's a good idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you guys want these guys to have a plan or a reduction as well, or,
In the general.
Oh.
the general fund? You know, a lot of these projects that they have can come before this board as well. They can be agendized and come before this board as well. It doesn't make any difference.
No,
Like I say,
but
it goes back
it's
to
like
the-
you said, like the town of Kingston, right? It's like we definitely don't want to have to take it over. So we're giving them all the help so they can self-sustain. And I mean, that's a little bit different style of a grant or concept than, this person here that needs, help for these events that they're going to be hosting 6 times throughout the year. So.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure, so.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. So how do you guys feel about that?
Is it possible after a grant over a certain amount is going to require more reporting, more detailed plans? I mean, if we have one that's $4,000, they're not going to need are they going to have to do the same kind of reporting? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely, because it's basically
Accountability.
it's accountability, using
Okay.
taxpayers' dollars, and yep, absolutely.
Gotcha.
So what about conservation district? Are you gonna hold them to the reduction as well, or?
Where else do they get funding? Do they get funding from other groups or the mines or?
States, grants. Jerry, could you speak to that at all?
Well, yes. As you know, I'm not a member of the conservation district, but I can tell you that they get grants from other sources. BLM, State Conservation Commission, to name a couple.
Yeah.
So if we did cut their funding, it really wouldn't affect them as much as.
Well, I know on the 100,000, I don't believe they've ever even spent that much. They ask for it every year, but.
I
it
wonder
just
if it would
rolls
be
over.
wise of us to look at other counties and see what they're.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
like look at
I don't
Austin or Eureka, Elko, and kind of see what they're doing.
There's some comparables, so I don't know, just an idea.
Do we control the funds for the Lander County Conservation District? All that,
No.
their checks are, they have their own checking account?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I think we should look at counties that have disincorporated, and so you don't have to deal with the city funds, because when you have your city funds, your incorporated cities, and compared to your counties, it really skews things. Like Eureka County, Esmeralda, Lincoln.
Okay, so maybe on this number 6, we just need to put on hold until we get some other county data. Does
Yeah.
that sound all right, guys?
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay, so then if we go to 7, no grant request application shall be accepted after the application due date. Applications are due by February 3rd, 2025, this year for fiscal year 25-26. Are you guys fine with that deadline? If they don't have it turned in by that date, it's done.
Yep,
They don't get it. They're
Okay.
absolutely.
I agree.
Okay, so
So
7.
do you guys want to get rid of, we always budget 10,000 for miscellaneous grants that come throughout the year, where people didn't do it during budget time, and they come and ask. We don't get a ton of them, but it has happened.
Yeah, so again, that's my point, is we're setting a policy, and then we put a contingency in the policy for somebody that doesn't get it turned in by the due date. It's like, if we set the policy, that's what it is. People need to know what it is. I just think that we're just basically lessening our authority or our position in what we say by doing something like that. That's my opinion.
Are those new applications?
Yeah, I was gonna say, what groups
Not
actually?
existing, not say, hey, I was late getting in my application this year. Are these for new applicants
Yeah, some
that have
new
never
group or
been
something.
in the system?
Typically, yeah, and it used to be only budgeted at 5,000, but we've had lots of people come and ask for grants, and then we were running out of money in there, so.
Like who?
Increase. We had the FA come and ask, I think, for money one time, wrestling, I think we've had Little League,
There's
the
a lot of
rodeos
school
that
stuff.
came. They just come in the middle of the year, and we have to have funds somewhere to
Right.
pay for those if you.
Yeah, and I think that's not a bad idea, honestly, because things happen. A new event comes up that,
For new applicants?
Yeah.
Not existing ones who just didn't make the deadline.
well, then that kind of leaves out the school, because the schools are always, of course, the last time school came here, we turned them down.
So it's up to you guys if you want to leave miscellaneous money in there.
I don't think we should keep it there. That's my opinion.
You could, just a suggestion, you could have some sort of waiver situation set up in there, in your guidelines, or a penalty. For example, I remember missing for Lepsy, I had to go down and argue right after I took over from Jana Lee to get us some funds from the state that we were too late to apply for. And lo and behold, Esmeralda County was doing the same thing because they'd done the same thing. And I ended up arguing for both. And they had a little blurb in their regulations that allowed for a penalty rather than, totally not getting it. And we argued, that you should reduce this by 10%. And that's what they ended up doing. So we paid a penalty for being late, but we didn't get totally cut off.
Okay.
And you may want to consider something along those lines.
Okay, thanks, Bill. Heather?
I wasn't totally sure what you had meant by some of these grants, but my own son was part of the group, the FFA group that came and approached the county about for that grant. And I'll just share with you that they had no idea until the end of March that they had qualified for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to attend the national convention in October. So it might be a good idea to have some contingency funds for those types of unique situations where community members have these once-in-a-lifetime
Like
opportunities.
they just found out, didn't have any force. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you,
Just
Heather.
about.
Well, another example, Ryan, is when during COVID, like the burners, they were self-sufficient as well, but the mines wouldn't give us money because they wanted, if you were doing anything with people out, they didn't want to. So I think that was one time we came and you guys did give us money to do that car show during COVID, so it might not be a bad idea just to have a little something, because you never know what's going to pop up that's going to be a surprise.
Okay, like I said, it used to be 5 and then we increased it to 10. Do we want to keep it at 10? Do we want to cut it back to the 5? What do you guys want to do?
I think we should leave it at 10, and if we don't use it, it just rolls over.
Okay.
So do you want me to take out, you want me to just have 7 read the applications or do February 13th for the budget workshop meetings?
Yeah, and then
Okay,
maybe
that's
something in there that certain cases can be appealed to us, it's that if they didn't make it, yeah, and then we'll look at it, yeah. Yeah. You guys good with that?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so then, number 8, all applications for grants must be in a sound financial state. Example, no debt due, taxes paid, etc.
Because last year, what group was it that found out somebody had absconded with all their money and they had to restructure?
Frontier Action Agency.
Yeah, so they ended up pulling their grant request at the end there. Yeah.
So with this one, what are we trying to accomplish there? It's just making.
So I'm not sure what this one's for because it was already in there. But I'm thinking you have to be financially sound with the county as far as no taxes due or debts due to the county.
They're nonprofits.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we probably need to read.
So I can add that.
The verbiage needs to be changed because that's the whole point is like a lot of these nonprofits, they really don't have much of a financial state, especially if they're just up and starting. So I'm sure there was some thought behind that, but I'm just not sure what it was.
At one point in time during the grants, I haven't seen that for a while, but at one point in time, we had to prove our nonprofit status.
I have seen in a couple of the ones I requested.
And I know Paula started doing that with convention and tourism too. You had to prove that you were a nonprofit. No.
So this just sounds like it's not a bailout, right? Like if you're going to give money to a nonprofit, this just sounds like, a sound financial state that they're not applying for the ground just for a bailout. Yeah, and hey, you pay our taxes. To me, that's what it sounds like is you're getting an eye on their leadership and who's running that ship. And
exactly.
Well, that's laid out previously, right? You can't use it. You can only use the grant money for certain things, right? You can't use it for personnel, can't use it. So I would assume you can't use it to pay back debt or taxes.
Or use it for mismanagement.
Yeah.
It just says, number one, please provide information regarding the legal existence of the organization. And then it says, example, nonprofit, political subdivision, citizen, committee, or 501c3.
Okay.
Can I ask her one more thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
Like, and so when those go out, is there something in there that, cause I might have missed it, that says all of, like, if they, like, let's think of, for example, any nonprofit, so like they get money from Marigold and Nevada Gold and the county, and let's say they raise, you know, businesses by banners or whatever. Do we get a breakdown of that from them?
So, I think it asks,
Because it's easy to double dip like that. You can sell a banner and then say, oh, we had to use that for advertising and give the invoice in. You know, it's
so
easy to do.
number 4, it does say to state the amount you're requesting from Lander County and describe other funding sources for the project or operation that'll be used to accomplish your objectives.
So they should, right, if I'm correct, they should give us those and say, like, if they got $5,000 from Nevada Gold, where they spent that money.
Yeah.
Okay.
Breakdown of where it is supposed to be on there.
Yeah. But not all of them do it.
So, I mean, if you guys want, I can start, like requesting more information when I receive these. If I don't think they're providing that, I usually just put them in front of you guys how I receive them, but.
See, like the Chamber of Commerce's, when they do their events and stuff, they don't actually do a breakdown
No, they don't.
of if we made $10,000 off this event,
Well,
we don't get a breakdown of
Allen
what.
Mountains did do a profit and loss, and I noticed that Austin did not do a profit and loss, but you guys did ask for one from her last year, and she brought it, yes. That's the only thing.
So do you guys want me to just remove number 8 or?
Where are we at on number 8? Which one down here?
Well, I think they need to be I don't know.
See a need to remove it, you?
I don't see where it really makes a difference one way or the other. Just leave it.
Sound financial with the county, so it's more clear, or do you think it's fine how it is?
I think it's fine the way it is.
Quick suggestion, just change must to should. That'll give you wiggle room.
Yeah.
To me, I don't see a reason to get rid of it.
Okay, that's fine. We'll leave 8 in there.
Change it to should.
Yep, and just change must to should. Number 9, grant package must be completed with required documentation for it to be considered at the budget meeting. So just make sure that, yeah, exactly that, so.
We can add a little verb there that says we can request more information, because didn't you have a problem last year when you requested more and then they're like, well, you didn't ask for that?
Yeah, that was with one of the judge groups or something like that. We had to.
That's one of
She
the
does, but
guidelines.
like-
You can add that in the questionnaire.
This is what she gets from district court, and it's not very.
Yeah, that was
fabulous.
what it was. And we asked them for more information and they were like, we don't have to give you that. Yeah, you do. You're spending our money.
That was for their budget, not a grant, but yes.
Yeah. They didn't want to give us any information whatsoever on it.
Okay, so that basically everything other than 6, which we're going to get some data and then we'll come back and decide how we want to, like, yeah, it's just we have some clarification on that to see how some of these other counties are handling, like conservation, aging care, just things like that. So we have some better idea on it.
So question, since we're doing this and we've already sent this out, are we going to try to do this for next year? Or are we going to try to implement this year on short notice to everybody?
I told all of them when I sent this out that they,
Good.
this was gonna be reviewed and I would send the updated one.
Okay.
Okay, good. Okay, so is there any other questions on 2.1?
We would just like to be able to send this with the understanding that the only ones that are going to have still in question would be the Conservation District and them, because we're still doing research, but then the rest of this packet as approved would be sent out to everybody so they're well aware of what's coming.
Yeah.
Do you guys want any changes in the actual questionnaire?
Do you guys have any?
Hold on. Description, blah, blah, blah.
And
And then number 2 says be very specific, and they are not.
Yeah, we did, number 2, it does ask for a complete description of the project or operations for which you're requesting assistance, and please be very specific. Do you want me to add, they have to provide itemized?
Number 3, I think we should, please provide a budget of your intended project or operations. Please indicate whether you plan for specific expenditures in your program to be paid from grant proceeds from Lander County. Please include all other funds you're receiving for those. I don't know.
And that's in number 4.
Oh, it is? Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Sources, okay.
Sources.
And also, we might have to open the next item, because it might change when Lakin makes these due for them, depending on when we set the date for the budget workshop.
Okay. So we'll open that concurrently. Did you have a question, Derek?
Jerry Hannes for the record. For the record, I think this is a great conversation. As I reflected on my answer that I was unprepared for, I realized that in particular, the Conservation District will, and when they apply for grants with other agencies that they have worked with in the past, in particular, like U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and now Pheasants Forever, Trout Unlimited, list goes on. Oftentimes, they are asked, they are either required to have or asked what kind of matching funds they have. And my question to you is, do you have any provision for instance, giving preference to grant applications that can illustrate matching funds, so that, to answer your question, they're not the only, you are not the only person. You can ensure that you are not the only person that has studied them and agreed with their purpose and pledged to be involved.
That's a great point. Most state grants ask for
Thank you.
matching funds.
Thanks, Jerry.
Thanks, Jerry.
You can take that one.
Oh, thanks.
So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna open 2.22 so we can discuss, because just like as our county manager laid out, for discussion and possible action to change the dates for the budget workshop meetings. So
I apologize, we have a number of people that are going to be absent for the dates that were previously chose, so I think, and it also puts a pretty good crunch on Lakin. If we could extend that out, it's better, but I know that also kind of pushes us a little bit, but.
What date did we have it set for? Or were we thinking?
The week of the 13th, I believe.
Yeah.
March? Of March?
Yeah.
12th and 13th.
The 13th is a regular commission meeting, so that you guys had chose to just continue the budget workshop onto the regular meeting. So if you guys want to do that, then you would go to the 4th week of February. But if not, you could do it the following week.
No, Brian
You
was
would
going
just
to be
have
doing the
it.
call.
Well, I'll just make some changes. So what works best for everybody else in the room here?
Would the 26th and 27th work?
26th and 27th? Okay.
February?
No,
Of
March.
March. Yeah, 26th, 27th, I'll make work. I'll
You
make
have to
that
get
work.
your report into the state. Will that give you enough time to do that?
Yeah, it should be fine. I have to have it done by April 15th. so.
Okay. Well, that only gives you 15 days, basically.
Then we have a meeting on the 10th, so you can go on the 10th, and she could have it by the 15th, so that would work.
Okay, because we don't want, we're trying not to.
I'll make it work.
Okay,
So 26th,
I'm good there.
27th?
I'm good.
Is that good for everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've blocked out all of March, so whatever we need.
26th, 27th, that's what it is.
Are you going to be here, Brian?
I'll make it happen.
Okay.
Although it'll be painful, but I'll make it happen.
Because last year we didn't have your smiling face.
So no longer March 12th, 13th?
Yeah.
So-
We'll still have a meeting then, right?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. On the 13th, okay.
So then, so maybe then we can have some data back on that number 6 item, maybe just for our next meeting in February, huh? And then we can get that one close so you have clear and you got plenty of time to.
So can we have a report too on the conservation district? Like you said, they haven't actually used 100,000. How many years have they rolled that over that they haven't actually used? You know, and like they asked for 126,000. How much of that do they use every year and how much just rolls over? If they're not using it, why are we giving it to them? Yeah.
Okay. Is there any more on either 2.1 or 2.2?
I just have one more question, sorry.
Okay, go. No, you're fine. Go
So
ahead.
if there's something like that, like in the next day, I'm like, oh, hey, I'd like to get more information on the conservation district. Can she, so that they're not coming here, when they come here, like last year when you had somebody come and then you're like, oh, hey, we need this from you. If one of us think about that before, can we tell her so she can say, hey, could you bring that with you? Or no?
I'd probably just,
Okay.
the more information you guys have to make your decision, the better, I think. So
Perfect, thank you.
yeah, if something comes up you guys would like to see, we can reach out to any of these requesters and ask them to come better prepared.
Okay, awesome.
Okay. So I will hear a motion on 2.1.
Make a motion that we approve the modification of the Lander County Grant Packet and Guidelines and the verbiage that was discussed.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second that?
Okay, a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And now a motion on 2.2.
I motion that we change the date to the 26th and 27th of March for budget hearings.
Okay.
Second that?
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, great. We'll get back to 1.9 for information only. Pool pack presentation by Alan Colt. Alan, you're up. Sorry to keep you waiting. Good morning.
Good morning. Is it possible to load up PowerPoint?
Yeah, PowerPoint, help. Can you guys help him with the PowerPoint presentation? He put his thumb drive in there. Is that all he needs to do, or?
I was looking to see if it was loaded on the agenda, but it's not.
I'm sometimes technology.
They should be. Do it, because I just.
Yeah, we can do that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. For the record, my name is Alan Colt. I'm the CFO of Pool Pact. And in my former life, I was Lake and I was the Church County Comptroller, Alan from Fallon. And wow, what a flashback that last presentation was. Community support is so important. And the role that the governing board does to allocate that is important. And what's interesting is I was looking on the phone, your policy, and Churchill County had to adopt a similar policy to address those issues. So I'm here today to give you an update on Pool Pact. Also with me today is Joni, your local agent, who helps services your account and some of the specific issues that you have. It's always been a pleasure to be involved with Lander County. You know, at Pool Pact, the member is the center of everything we do, and in this case, you know, Lander County. And I've had a great opportunity to watch over the last several years of Lander County folks, Bert, Liz, Lakin, step up to the plate in their level of involvement. And today, I think I'm going to show to you a couple examples, I think, where that has paid off great dividends. You know, where they've learned some things through some of our trainings, through our programs. They brought it back home here to Battle Mountain, Lander County, and has made a significant impact in the community. We have a management company that runs Pool Pact, that's NRP. We have the HR system, which is Pooling Resources, Inc. We have our liability program, property and casualty, and then we have our workers' comp, and we're blessed that you're members of both. Our organization at Pool Pact, we're member-owned, member-governed. We take the stewardship of public assets as serious as you just did on community support. You know, these are real taxpayers' dollars. And our goal at Pool Pact is to make sure that we have adequate funding. We never have to do a special assessment. We're there to fund and to pay the claims of our members and to provide quality, high quality service. And we're committed to that to our members, and we're focused on the future. You know, Pool Pack, we excel in innovative solutions, financial strength, security, durability, cost-effective risk management programming, financing members, helping members with their financing and financial issues, helping member networking and resource sharing. You know, we're ready to lace it up and run every day for our members. And going down the highway and watching the sunrise this morning was just beautiful. Good thing I had sunglasses because traveling east, you know which way the sun rises. You know, some of our programs in law enforcement, as Robert Quick knows, we got your six, we got your back. In law enforcement, they're always there to serve and protect your community. We view our role here at Pool Pack as always being here to help support you in your endeavors, whether that's cybersecurity, health and wellness, our e-learning portal, risk management, law enforcement, safety, and human resources. And I just want to quickly go over some of those things and the building blocks that are in place, here at Lander County with your involvement by your key staff. That's just made a good difference. We provide training on good governance, financial leadership. We'll go over a couple examples of that. Local government finance. You guys are involved and have attended the leadership conference that the HR folks put on in October. You attended the risk management summit. And as a matter of fact, you had a representative on one of our panels during that risk management summit in Elko this past September. The law enforcement actively participates in the Nevada Detention Administrators Working Group, otherwise known as NDOG. Marshall Smith, our risk officer, always comes up with these acronyms and saying, you participate in our e-learning, our award-winning. We won an international award, and our e-learning specialist, Mike Van Houten, is going to be recognized down in Florida at the end of the month on stage for his excellence and what he's been able to put together to help the members in training. Why is that important? Well, it's important because it's Lander County, it's Esmeralda County, it's Churchill County. I can't always be out there to do live training. Tomorrow I'm going to be at the University of Nevada, Reno helping newly elected officials do some financial training, and I will show you a schedule of some of the places I'm going to be. But as much as I love my job and the passion that I have for my job, I can't be there 24/7, 365. But if we develop e-learning classes and we put these things out on our portal so you guys can go look at that when it's convenient for you, that's what we're trying to do. And we're integrating AI. And, the bad news is they're going to have my ugly face as an avatar. So he can type up my presentations and the computer can talk. So you don't have to listen to my voice. Praise God, right, Robert? But those are some of the innovative things we're doing to help the members. We have a cybersecurity program, a No-B4 phishing campaign, to make sure people aren't hitting that spam mail and getting viruses and shutting down your computer network. We have law enforcement roll call training from national expert in the law enforcement community. And these are just some of those things that we try to do. One of the things I've been blessed with at Pool Pack, Wayne Carlson, our executive director, said, Alan, you can work and do financial leadership stuff, things that you'd have done successfully at Churchill County, share with the membership and participate in and help them. So I've been able to do that, do a lot of trainings. Prior to that, I was doing training for the Nevada Government Finance Officers Association, the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants. I teached at UNR Extended Studies for about 15 years, teaching classes, and I take these out on the road, one of the things that I have a unique ability to do, because I was, sitting in Lakin's chair for 26 years in Fallon, America, trying to figure out how to best spend the public's tax dollars. How can we squeeze every ounce, and when we had financial hard times, how could we do budget mitigation without having to lay people off? Because, they're the soccer coaches, they sing in the church choir, and they're citizens. How can we as a good organization prevent that type of stuff from happening? One of the things that I prided myself at Churchill County was two sides of a coin. One is debt management. Okay, when you borrow money. Okay, when the interest rates are low, you want to borrow money, right? You want to quote refinance a house. When interest rates were low, we refied our water and our wastewater debt to lower those rates. During this new economic times, starting about 2.5 years ago, the interest rates changed. So we flipped that coin over, and now the issue is if the interest rates are higher, are we managing our investments better? So we looked at, even internally at Pool Pack, and we say, hey, we need to reactivate the sweep accounts. So every night at 5 o'clock when or 5:30 or 6:30, whenever I leave Carson City, and I start driving to Fallon, that money that's in our Wells Fargo bank account goes into a money market account overnight. We wake up in the morning at 8 o'clock in the morning, guess what? That money comes back. But during that period of time, we just earned 4.93% interest in the month of December on our sweep account. Okay. All we did was set it up. The bank charges us $250 per month per account. Okay. But at 4.925%, that adds up over time. Okay. We have money sitting in investments. We have a investment pool, an investment advisory service, New England Asset Management, NEAM, that manages our big portfolio. But on the money that we need to have locally to pay the bills, pay the claims, pay salaries, those type of things, that money swept overnight, just like clockwork, making money while we sleep. You guys have done that here. You've done that here. It's made a difference. It's made a difference to the impact that you can invest in community grants, just like we just talked about, right? You can help the chambers of commerce, you can help the tourism, you can help these small communities make a difference because your staff, Justy's making a difference, raising more money, being more efficient. That's what it's about. And as members of Pool PAC, we're here to be part of your team. We're behind the scenes trying to help Bert, trying to help Liz, trying to help Lakin, trying to help Justy, trying to help Robert, the law enforcement folks, the national experts, Jared and Marshall. We don't want credit. We just want you to make your best better. Make your best better. And Lakin bringing that policy to you today is that cornerstone of what we're trying to do is, she's trying to make, you had a great policy. Let's just make it a little bit better. Let's hold people a little bit more accountable. And if they're more accountable, guess what? Then we feel good about giving them money because we know it's going to be invested in that community. It's going to get those desired results. We help local governments better understand their financial statements, their revenue resources, how they allocate their expenditures, and we encourage the effective use of special revenue funds. That's just some of the financial leadership, the good stuff that, as a bean counter, CPA type, that I enjoy doing. Working with our members in that area because it can make a significant financial difference. And I tell you here, here in Lander County, Battle Mountain, it has made a difference. Let me share a story out, on that sweep account. Small county, small city in northern Nevada. We'll call it Pershing County, actually, city of Lovelock. Mike Childs, he says, Alan, I heard you talk about sweep accounts. So I went back, talked to staff. We used to do it, and they went ahead and activated it back up, and we made over $10,000. In the first quarter, and we're averaging over 7,000. And he, retired. He's no longer mayor, but wow, what a difference that made for a small town. Okay, I'm on a golf course in Reno on June 19th. I didn't know what June 19th was. I show up to work, nobody's there. I text one of my coworkers, well, "Where's everybody at?" And, "Oh, it's a holiday." I said, "Oh, I'm gonna go play golf." So I go to Reno. I go play golf. Guess what happens? I run into a member of Sun Valley GID. We're playing golf. Alan from Fallon. And we start talking, and I say, "Hey, how's it going?" Sun Valley, GID, Chris, great guy. I says, "You guys sweeping your money on your investments?" He says, "Oh, yeah, we are." And I said, "Oh, that's awesome." Because a lot of banks quit doing that. And the interest rate, when the interest rates were 1.75 and you could barely get, the state local government investment pool was paying you 0.35 on your investments. Not a big deal. But when the rates went up to 3, then it went to 4, and it, topped at 5, that was like real money. So we get done playing and had a great time. And I get a call the next morning. He says, "Alan, I went and talked to our finance people, and we weren't sweeping." I says, "Oh, okay." I says, "What could I do to help?" Okay, they've made $500,000 of additional interest just by setting up their investments. Their local bank wasn't taking advantage. The local bank was taking advantage of them because the money was sitting in a non-interest-bearing checking account, and every night it wasn't sweeping, earning any money. Plus, they had $10 million in investment that was getting under 1%. And I suggested, wow, you go to the local government investment pool, and back then that pool was paying over 5.1% interest. So, worked with them. They got everything set up. Actually, he called me yesterday on a different issue, and I said, "Hey, how's it going?" He says, $500,000. I said, "Wow, that's a pretty expensive round of golf." And he says, "Yeah, we're doing great." You know what the neat part is working with Bert and Justy. You guys have done the same thing here to a magnitude a little bit different than that, a little bit more significant. I'll just leave it at that. Risk management services. We provide in our risk management, we have Marshall Smith is our risk officer, Jared Hickman, and we have a host of national experts that work with us. And we have national experts because we're able to pool those costs with Churchill, Lander, Lyon, Elko, Esmeralda, Carson City, those type of things, okay? We have this program called Target Solution that provides training, policies and stuff for EMS, fire, police, sheriffs, that type of thing. And you guys actively participate in that. Through our workers' comp program, we have a program that's called Fit for Retirement. You guys have 12 law enforcement officers that consistently, actively participate in that program. What we have learned and studied from the medical folks at Specialty Health is that those members who are fit, those law enforcement guys and gals, if they're fit, they're better officers, they're better partners, they're more productive, and you don't have that escalation. Okay, when the bad guy, if they have to chase a bad guy, they chase it without having to escalate, perhaps going too far up and, worst case scenario, have a shooting situation type of thing. Robert Quick's been working hard on the Absorb and using that as a law enforcement policy platform that absorbs part of our e-learning. The goal is to replace Lexipol. Why do you want to replace Lexipol? Well, by using Absorb and using our national experts with our law enforcement, with Steve Campbell and Jack Ryan, that the pool pays $50,000 for, that we spread that cost out over the entire membership. You guys can save tens of thousands of dollars by not doing that. Another great example of Robert and his team working hard to save money for the taxpayers here in Battle Mountain, in Lander County, to get the best things going. He's active in the NDOG group, the detention working group, because those folks that are in the county jail, they have rights and obligations, and we have a duty to take care of them when they're under our control and custody. You guys are participating in a pilot project with Medicare opioid use disorder, and you're taking a leadership role. Hopefully, if that program's successful, we'll share it with other members, or Robert will share it with other members, and help others members helping members. And that's what Pool is, as owners and members. That's what we want folks to do. Again, I mentioned you guys, we're part of a panel of navigating the NRS 289 minefield at our HR workshop that was held in Reno back in October. Our risk management folks have this ERMAP program, the Enterprise Risk Management Program. It's a volunteer program. What it does is it looks at all the different departments within an organization to make sure you have your best practices, policies, and procedures in place. Not only are they in place, you're using them. And on the fiscal control section, I'm involved in that. I help with that review of those projects, of those policies and procedures. I just gave an example about the investment stuff. We talked about the investment policy, debt management policy, budgeting, those types of things. And where there's any shortcomings, we're here to work with staff to assist and to help in that manner. Cybersecurity, working with Tony Rucci, another national expert, to make sure we don't have a cyber event here. We don't have, a virus hit. You don't get your system locked down, making sure you have adequate backups and offsite and those type of things. Being able to, if we did have a critical event, we got a critical response team. Tony will come out, work with that. And we've seen that happen, at school districts, rural hospitals, and county members. We have a quarterly webinar with Tony, working with all the different IT people within our membership, sharing, again, best ideas and him sharing best practices and what he's seeing at the national level. You guys are participating in KnowBe4, and that's we appreciate that, so that we don't have any glitches, or we try to prevent any phishing and cyber attacks on your network. Let's talk about specialty health and cardiac wellness. I mentioned the Fit for Retirement program. They've developed a 4-month metabolic reset program, and that reset program works with law enforcement folks. They complete their health questionnaire, they do their annual physical, there's a training packet, there's initial consultation review of their advanced labs to see how they're doing. They identify if there's areas of concern that they need to work on. And they provide nutritional intervention, metabolic tools, exercise, physical activity, sleeping, stress management, and a great resource library. And I've been on that program, and I'm happy to say it's working for me. Lost over 30 pounds, and have a higher sense of energy and awareness. They have a formula called Coptimizer. It's allulose sugar. It's like a Gatorade substitute. So this morning when I got done with my Peloton ride, instead of grabbing a Gatorade, I grabbed my 16-ounce bottle of water, took one small drink, took one scoop of Coptimizer, put it in, shook it, drank it. And what that does is that it replaces my electrolytes. Okay. It also has allulose sugar, okay, in there. And what that does is that's the good sugar, and that combats the bad sugar or fructose. And so it puts my sugar in balance so I don't have that sugar high and then a drop, okay? And, it works effectively. And the amount of sodium that's in the Coptimizer is significantly less than that in a Gatorade. Absorb, our e-learning platform. I mentioned, Mike Van Houten, our e-learning architect and e-learning master, has been recognized internationally, working with Absorb. You guys have been involved. 72 users on July 24th. Liz has worked to input 198 new, all the employees within that system, and it's going to start rolling out additional training that will help them, whether it be stress management, some of these other, I talked about on the health side, this law enforcement, the goal is a lot of health and wellness type things. I'm not in law enforcement, but those things that they have and watching those videos and those 15-minute trainings, 10-minute trainings help me to understand diet and nutrition and exercise better. Over 350 courses, flexible reporting. Mike provides online support. We have the learning management system. Mike has been recognized on Absorb on their website that they use. You can assign, create, and manage your system to benefit your employees and to meet the needs. And the sheriff's office has been involved in this for a long time, and we're getting more and more involvement by the rest of the organization here at Lander County. Then our cornerstone program, and as HR or Stacy or Leslie would say, well, gosh, Alan, you saved the best for last. Our HR program provides HR support, to assist critical employment issues. You have a dedicated business partner, Leslie, who comes out on site, does, your folks can come do online training, can do live training, e-learning. There's different certificate programs. They provide sample policies and procedures and forms and provide HR briefings and alerts during the legislative process that we track legislation both on the HR side and on the risk side, and we provide that information. Specifically out here in Lander County, we were able to help clarify some holiday pay calculation issues, answer some questions about the Presidential Day of Mourning with the President, the passing of President Carter, make sure the folks understood how that all worked, assist with drug and alcohol testing, make sure you're in compliance with the Family Medical Leave Act and intermittent leave. And again, one of the key programs that HR does is they bring in great speakers at their annual conference, and just pleased that you folks have been participating. And I think Bert and Liz and Lakin and Justy will be able to explain to you the value of your participation and what it's doing for the organization, using these resources that are available. You've participated in the virtual essential management skills training to get your employee skills put up, and some upcoming training opportunities. Those on the left, those are the ones that I'm involved with. As I said, tomorrow, NACO, Nevada League of Cities, is doing an elected officials training at UNR, the Redfield campus. I'll be doing the budget session, you get an hour and a half. Then what I'm going to do, and you're the first to know, if you can't make, I think 2 of you are signed up. I'm going to do a Zoom session. I'm going to do a redo of just my portion on Zoom, so the members, for those folks who couldn't attend. So if you have any other commissioners, you don't have to be just newly elected. If you want to learn more about local government finance, property tax, consolidated tax, those type of things, budgeting, those key things, I'm going to do an hour and a half. I'll just do it'll be on Zoom. You can go ahead and not look at me. You can follow the slides. But that's going to be available. On February 6th, PACT, we're going to be working with SPR, our payroll auditors, and we're going to do a Zoom training on the workers' comp payroll audit. That'll be a half-hour Zoom session that Lakin and her team will probably watch to make sure you complete your PACT payroll audit. February 10th, local government budgeting live class in Fallon from 1 to 4 on budgeting. I'll be doing a presentation there. On February 28th, there's going to be a 2.5-hour deeper dive into property tax and 2.5 hours on the consolidated tax in Carson City from 9:30 to 3:30. Those are live training opportunities. And I've committed to Bert that I'm willing to come out here to Lander County and provide Lander County specific training. And, the goal is March. I have a feeling it's going to be pushed to April. But we will make a time that is mutually beneficial, that fits everybody. Part of that training, what I'd love to do is I'd love to block out, because it's probably going to be 6 hours, 2 hours for you folks. If you're willing to invest 2 hours, we can do some highlights stuff and make it very meaningful to assist in that. So those are the trainings that I have going on, up to the end of February. There's a bunch more in March, but again, I'm willing to do a personalized one. I've made a commitment to Bert to make that happen. On February 5th, there's HR briefings, some of the HR trainings. And if you go to poolpack.com website, you can see our training calendar. And, here's our contact information. Wayne Carlson, our executive director, Stephen Romero, our member relations, myself, Marshall, Jared, Mike, Stacy, Leslie. We're all here to be part of your team, And, that's the power of the pool. And, as we learn things that you guys are doing great here in Lander County, Battle Mountain, Austin, Kingston, we'll take those to other members and have them share in that knowledge of what you guys are doing great. So I just want to give a big shout out. Great work to your team here at Lander County. And I'd be happy to answer any questions. And if they're really, really hard, Johnny's in the back. She can take care of it for me.
Okay. Thank you, Alan. Any questions for Mr. Paul? Alan, I'd just like to say thank you for always having our back in the collaboration. I've been working with the pool for many years, and you guys are solid, so I do appreciate you. And
small town. Grew up in Montana, small town boy. Moved to Reno, and that was kind of too big, so ended up in Fallon. I love helping rural Nevada, and I think we're making a difference. We're making a difference. Besides Boulder City, I think my second biggest accomplishment is going to be Lander County, of what we've done to help make a significant difference working with staff. So,
thank you. All right. We'll move into item 3.1, correspondence reports, future agenda items.
Wait, didn't we miss?
No, I think we got everything.
Something about the state tax? Why did we have this if it's not on the agenda?
No, that was just part of the.
What he's gonna do?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
All right. We're not going to discuss whether we're going to stay Guarantee County or not?
No, it's not. It's not an item for discussion. It's something that we're going to do some more research in and bring back before you guys.
Okay.
We're going to meet right after this meeting with Alan and talk about some of that, some of the benefits and potential risks. But it'll be a future agenda item. It's just in your backup.
All right, because that's kind of important.
Yep, most certainly is. There's a lot to consider and a lot to discuss.
There really
on
is.
That. So, one thing, January 7th, I don't know if you guys know this, but the mileage rates went from 67 cents per mile to 70 cents per mile for reimbursements for travel costs. So just want to make you guys aware of that, because when you turn in any of your travel forms, that's what your rates are.
Okay. Any future agenda items?
Where are we at on the property line stuff? We haven't heard a word from anybody on anything on that. We were supposed to already be done with it, according to what Aaron said.
The property lines are done. We are at the point now where lawsuits are being filed on those that aren't complying or can't be found. So then it'll kind of force compliance. But as far as the property line adjustments, they are done. It is a complete project minus the legal side of it at this point.
So everything is going to be held up until the lawsuits are done? Or like people up on the upper end where none of those properties are tied in with that, are they going to start getting their deeds, or what's going to happen?
That's probably more of a legal question on what sections will be finalized and if they get their deeds or not, or if that depends on the entire map. I'm not 100% certain on that.
Okay.
So I apologize, but I can look into that. We can make that an agenda item for the next agenda and see if our attorneys will come present something to you guys.
Because there's only, what, like 5 people that haven't complied?
I thought there was a couple more maybe that are, that they are having trouble even locating, I believe, or may have deceased. So let's just make that an agenda item.
Yeah.
We'll bring
Yeah,
that.
okay. Because I had lots of people ask me about it.
You bet, you bet.
Okay, any more correspondence reports, future agenda items? Okay, if not, I'll move into public comment for non-agenda items only. Is there public comment? Okay, hearing none, I'll hear a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion and second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Hi.
Aye. Good job, everybody.
I'm still at it, right?